All right, so it is May 22nd. So I did a bunch of deer scouting and also hunting turkeys. So this video might not make sense. I'm gonna jump from scouting to turkey hunting to scouting to turkey hunting. I did get a tom. I missed a tom. I got a video of that. 2 days later, then I killed a tom. I didn't know how big he was. The guys here said 25 is about as big as they get around here. This one was 21 pounds. I don't know if he was big or not, but it's the first one that I've got. I have missed 8 or 9 over the last 4 years with my bow because, well, I suck at it apparently, but turkeys are like little velociraptors. They never quit moving. They're always moving, and I can't hit them with a bow. A deer has a real problem around me with a bow. Turkeys not so much, but this one, I hit him good and I got him 21 pounds, so that was fun. Found some really good deer spots. I've been hanging cameras. I've been hanging cameras, and the mushroom crop was incredible. That's why all my clothes are sitting out here. So I'd suggest this time of year, put permethrin, tuck in your socks, permethrin your legs. I got a bunch of ticks the first time I was out. I didn't have any, like 40 on me. Once I sprayed down, I had 5 or 6 I had to pick off. One got stuck, so it's a great thing to, you have to do that because I've had Lyme disease. It sucks. But yeah, so bear with me on this video. It's going to be a little bit random, but this is the last 2.5 weeks, something like that, and we did get a turkey down. Finally, I have some feathers to fletch my arrow. That's a good tom. There's the big slug. Come on, buddy. I need your wings for my trad arrows. Oh yeah, big slug. Just dragging that beard. I've got a black hornet with his name on it. There you go. Keep coming, buddy. Play a little game. That's at 100 times zoom, so that turkey is about 300 plus yards from me. This camera's old. It does a foggy, decent job at long range. All right, so I think it's May 6th. I'm out scouting a spot I found this winter. Got a lot of deer in it. This is probably 100 acres of pretty thick, as you can see, and it holds a lot of deer. It's a honey hole, but there's oaks everywhere. There's 2/3 reds, 1/3 whites, something like that. So I've walked, this winter I walked their trails, and now this spring I'm walking their trails. And I'm trying to find a place on the outside of their travel circle that I can get in, clean access. And I've got one on this side, and I've got one on this side. I was trying to find where all their trails crossed. I have another location where I found something like that. Here, it's very tempting to hunt in this thick. You know, there's rubs through here. It's very tempting to hunt here, but it isn't worth a damn because it's too hilly. In order to be in the action, I gotta burn some of it. I gotta give myself away. So the plan for the fall will be probably only hunt this on a south wind on the outside edge. The odds of seeing a big one, I don't know. There's places where you can find a location where everything comes together, and you got a clean access, and I don't have that here. It might take me a couple more years to learn this. You know, this is all super hilly terrain and thick, and there was a ton of beds in here. If there was a no-wind day and I was going to burn the area, I'd be tempted to go right. I mean, they do all cross where the ridges come together, but in order to get there, I got to burn this bottom. This is just... Look at the positive side. It's an amazing spot for the deer to bed. They are safe. Very hard to hunt. A lot of swirling winds. They are very safe. So I'm going to creep up to the edge and hunt it on the days I can. And I'm going to leave them the hell alone so they stay in here. Now there's rifle stands everywhere in here, and these boys are coming in from the north on four-wheelers and side-by-sides. I guarantee you, opener the day before rifle, they're in here checking their stands. This place is cleared out of deer. You know, I'm sure once they get kicked, deer run through here. They've even shot some big ones, I'm sure, but their access is completely wrong. It's awful. If I was them, they had to have to cut a lot of trails to get in from the other end, but I think when I find places like this, it's kind of exciting because guys that access their rifle stands completely wrong, and like this bedding area, there's stands on all sides of it. So if the deer are in here and these guys driving in the morning, they kick everything out of here. They're gone. You know, and deer get kicked in here, but they're giving them such a heads up as far as scent. Four-wheelers, side-by-sides, it's that's the reason big ones get big. And I have a when I find a big one, 90% of the time he's there again the next year. If I don't kill him, he lives. And it's because people hunt like the deer are dumb, and they get a little spooky. So the other thing is, wherever I'll take my four-wheeler in here. This gets four-wheeled all summer, and side-by-sides, and I will take my four-wheeler in here this summer, and I will see where they're crossing, and maybe early season, whatever the trails they're crossing on a pertinent wind, I will set up back from it, and I won't burn it. But when you find a really good spot, you gotta have kid gloves on for for not blowing it out, because it's easy to come in here and blow all these deer out of here. Well, you won't. The young ones and the does and fawns will stay, but the one I'm after, if he's here, and I'll throw an inventory camera here, but if he's here, he's not that hard to kill. Well, in here he might be, because this is a big, thick, and they get nomadic. So there's oaks everywhere. So where are they going to feed tonight? Where did the white oaks drop yesterday or the day before? I don't know. And it'll change. They'll feed off a ridge, and then they'll move and they'll bet. Roll the dice. So I'll hunt the outside edge. When it does get to that pre-rut time, I will hunt as close as I can to the thick, and I will rattle and grunt And that works. You know, it might not work on the one you want it to, and some deer you'll blow out, but there was guys at the meat market brought in way bigger bucks than I thought you could rattle in, that they rattled and grunted aggressively. So there's a time to do that. And secondary rut last year, I rattled in a couple bucks. I was after that 154. He'd probably scored 125 this year because he only grew 3 on one side instead of 6 like the year before. But I was after him, and I rattled 2 bucks in that Thursday of muzzleloader, hunting with my dad. It works, man. And that deer came on a line. I got a video of it, a decent 8-point, and he came up to 40 till he saw me because I'm in the only damn tree, only tree in the swamp, you know. But yeah, this is a really good spot. It's an exciting muzzleloader spot too, because there are some vantages I can get to where you can shoot 200 yards. But access here is terrible, unless it's a south wind. But yeah, it's funny, you find a lot of deer sign and then you find deer stands. And the deer stands aren't based on where the wind is or access. Deer stands are based on where is the highest hill around here where I can shoot 400 yards with my 300 Win Mag. Which is enjoyable, and I used to think like that too. It's really fun with a scope and a big gun to be able to shoot a long ways, and you think you up your chances. You down your chances. You gotta be where your access is good, and you gotta be where the big one's gonna travel. He ain't gonna travel when you can see 400 yards. It ain't likely. You know, some will make that mistake, but not often. Anyway, on to the next one. Yeah, so the other thing is when I should be turkey hunting, but when it comes to turkey hunting or scouting, I guess scouting won today. Alright, so it's a perfect turkey morning, but I got up a little bit late, and I fiddled around and I made coffee. If I'd have been 10 minutes earlier, the turkeys came over the road and they're strutting about 250 yards away, and they saw me setting up my decoys. At least the one did. Here's the question: how smart is a turkey? In my experience, they're harder to kill than you think. I haven't made a real solid effort. But get there. Or not. If I don't scout in the spring, I mean, for this 2 weeks, this is the biggest advantage for finding out what they did. You know, I'm scouting now for the last 2 weeks in October and the first week in November. And if you find hot spots that are all ripped up, they're very worth finding out what's there and then visiting again. So. Was 33 yards. For some reason, my pins were glaring really bad. I'm not sure I used the right one. That was a pretty easy shot, and he came running in, so that is miss number 8 or 9 for me. I'm not sure. I've never killed one, but I've missed a bunch of them. And he was standing still. I get the turkey fever. That was cool. He came running in. He might come back. I think he's hiding in my garage. I'm about 60 yards from my garage. That was cool. He come tearing in. I'm an idiot. Alright, so scouting a new place. And if this was way far away from where people can get to, I'd say it's a lock. I just kicked 5 deer out of here. I mean, there's tracks. If you ever see a swamp trail like that, like, there's no question they're in here. And the way it lays out on the map is great. I just don't know. People will mess with this. Like, it's too close to a trail. It's too obvious. So I'm going to try to follow it back. And maybe I can come from the other side and get on them early morning, because they're coming in here to bed. The wind is right too. I mean, it sets up. I just don't think people will leave it alone. I think it'll be getting hit and it'll get burned. It might be really worth like a first week of season sit. And I suck at those. So we'll see what we find. It's an incredibly good crossing. Like, this ridge goes this way and there's a beet trail coming on that. And then there's two, there's a couple swamps here that got across here. It's just too obvious. But maybe not. We'll see. Alright, so I scouted the other spot. I'm probably 300 yards off the trail. And the other side of it, I would call it ultra bedding. There's like 3-4 swamps. And then there's some pretty high knobs in there. And it's all pines and underbrush. But they've been in there so much. It looks like it's manicured walking trails through it. Old rub all over. No rut from last fall. But it was a weird fall. Now I'm, a ways away from there. I'm trying to scout this whole area in an afternoon. The leaves are starting to come on. So it's going to be a short scouting season. But this is really the last place I have to scout that seriously needs to be scouted. I think there was 40, 50 deer in here in December. It was nuts. I jumped those 5 across the road. When I drove over here, there was 3 more ran across the road in front of me. Holds a lot of deer. I mean, I haven't seen trails like this since the 90s, when we were back before they released all these timber wolves. In the 90s, you could go out and see realistically 10, 12 deer a time. There was deer everywhere. And then they let the wolves go. I would say we're at about 3 to 5% of the population that we had back then. You can hunt all week and you might see a deer. It's ridiculous. The wolves killed them all, but Minnesota's got to get a season, but we have too many liberals in the Twin Cities that like the idea of them out there. And I like the idea of them out there too, but they got to be managed, guys. Come on. You give an inch and they take a mile. But so now I'm mapping this trail. I can't hunt up here. I can, but it kind of lays out wrong. But I don't care about that. I'm going to walk till I find the end of this trail, till it splices into something else, and hopefully I can get a good wind direction for that. This is too close to people, but they really use it, and I think they use it at night a lot. But if I get back far enough where this V's into something, a mile back here, I might find a real hot spot. So it's more about eliminating spots to me. Like, I knew this was good. I scouted on the snowmobile. Now I'm going to go back here and see where it goes. Hopefully find a shed. I mean, there was at least 40 deer in here. But if I can figure out if it tees into something else or the back of a swamp or something, then I'll make a little mental note in the bean squash here and find a saddle tree. So it is 78 degrees. There was snow on the ground 2 weeks ago. We're lucky that it left, but anyway, I better keep moving. Alright, so this is kind of what you like to see. I'm back here a ways now, but this is a saddle. And the trail came right up here, and then it hit this trail. So if I could get up in one of these trees, but we got a historic rub. This is what you really like to see. Honestly, when I see a tree that big, look at that thing. So he's basically just brow tining that thing. But To me, that looks like a tank of a buck. I could be wrong. Might be a spike. But you see other trees like that one there, wounded on the bottom. Another one up there. So where this trail here that looks gorgeous, and the trail that I just walked up, which looks less, it kind of split down here, but you can see that tree was rubbed. Like, this is a crossing, and it's really, you know, with a northwest wind, I can get up there, but my scent's gonna do this. I could get on there, but then I can't shoot down here. It's a tough place. There's a deer stand up there. Rifle hunters, man, everywhere. But where these trails come together, you always find a rub. I found one rut down there, or one scrape. We call them rut, but yeah. Let's see where this goes. All right. So I went on a few mile hike. This is probably the best trail there is. It's about 300 yards from the truck. That airplane's been circling me, wondering what I'm doing. Scouting deer, son. So there's a lot of this thick in here. And there is a pile of deer in this stuff. So my idea was, I was gonna go on the south side of it, where there's, you know, there's an east-west edge, and find the trail on the bottom end of it where those bucks are swinging. I can get in here, a straight south drop, come over, get on the back side, all this stuff. I know there's a lot of deer in there. Find that trail and set up a saddle location. They are crossing everywhere. There's like 5 trails on the south end of this, but no well-defined one. They all spiderweb in and out. A little frustrating. I thought, I mean, this is a bee's nest of deer. There's a pile of deer in here, and I know there's monster bucks that tend all the does that are in here, and they run those trails. But even with a gun, I can only cover maybe 2 trails at a time. So 90% of this, so 2 out of 3 of my locations I can hunt and they're good. But this I thought would be the best one, and it sucks. I mean, there's a bunch of deer in here, but it's so sporadic. They're random. I mean, on the backside of, see how hilly, it's hillier than hell. On the backside of every hill, there's trails. There's trails, and the wind's gonna swirl in here, but I can't hunt this. I can, but my odds, I thought for sure there'd be a main trail on the bottom end of this, an east-west swing, jackpot. You know, because this, probably there's 20 deer in here at a time, and bucks just swing it. But it is so random that the ticks are terrible. It is so random, I'm never coming back here. With a muzzleloader, there is one spot where I can cover like 5 trails. They're going around this hill, but whew, I'm done in. I wasn't going to scout this, but I didn't want to drive all the way back here to scout this. And it was in my mind like, dude, look at that. Because there's also a ridge that goes east-west on the back side of this. In my mind, the perfect storm. And it is random. They're all over the place. So I'm going to write this off, get home, and rest for work tomorrow. So after a good day scouting yesterday, 2 out of 3 spots are good. One is pretty epic. I woke up at 4:30. No going back to sleep, so I haven't hunted these turkeys in the morning yet. I can see them in my uncle's yard, and they've been gobbling and squawking all morning. We'll see if this works. This might be my only chance at another tom. This is a different tom. The tom I missed lives over there. And there's 3 or 4 toms with this group. They come across here at 6 every morning. This is it. All right, so he couldn't get up, so I went and shot him again. And it wasn't too bad. I've heard horror stories where you got to run him down, but he was hit pretty good. I think it was about, he'd have been exactly at 20 yards, because my fan is at 20, and right here is where I shot him. You can see feathers. And I'm excited because with my trad bow, I can make fletchings now, and look how beautiful those are. That's a cool feather. Good Lord. Oh, there's two toms over there fanned out now. So we still got some opportunity. These are fun to hunt. I liked hunting them more. I'd hunt them on the ridge up there, and I'd run through the trees and try to set up, and the run and gun thing. This is, I mean, I'm at my house. That's my house. That's where I shot him. I shot him about 80 yards from my front deck. So it's a little, but whatever, they're coming through here all the time. So yeah, here's where I hit him, and then there's a feather trail, which I was glad. When I missed that tom the other day, I lost my arrow, which wasn't fun, but I had a feather trail right to my arrow. So no arrows were lost today. Very minimal calling. I'm not an expert at this game at all. There's some days they really interact with me, and I hunt them just like I would elk. And that's really fun, but that that was not what happened today. So he made it probably 60 yards. And I think he's got about a 8-inch beard. I don't know. He looked big when he fanned up in front of me, but I don't think he's a monster. He's pretty heavy. But I'm going to work here in an hour, so I'll weigh him and clean him. And then we've been smoking turkey drummies every Friday. And it's Friday, but I might throw them on the load anyway. Clean them up and throw them on the load. So there he is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's a monster. I mean, I think this is about 8 inches long, and his spurs are probably exactly an inch. I don't know, help me out. What's a big turkey? I think he's probably like the 8-point you find everywhere, you know. He came in just like they're supposed to, as you can see. And I had to draw on my knees. Well, like my shoulder's exposed, like I'm in the blind, but I thought for sure he'd see me, because my top limbs are kind of almost in the sunshine. And I was trying to wait, because he was close, but I was trying to wait for him to turn. And then I thought, well, he's so close, I think I'm just going to draw. And if he fans down, then I'm just going to hammer him. But anyway, that worked out. So yesterday was a good day of scouting. That place was the last place I had to scout, and we only had a couple weeks of scouting because the snow went. Leaves are coming on. But the first place I scouted, it is not far from the trail. But I've never found a bedding area that's that dense, and in the center of that bedding area, there's deer stands. There's an archery stand, and there's a permanent rifle stand. There's no way to get in there without kicking every damn deer out, unless you went in. But they're right in the center, and the deer come from both ways because it's a swamp system. So I think they are way off how they're hunting that, but I've been wrong before, and if they built a permanent in there, maybe they've shot some good ones. Now actually what I have to do is I've got cameras that I haven't checked. I think I've got 10 cameras I gotta go pick up. So that's next on the list. The place I was at yesterday, I gotta put at least 2 cameras in there. I'd like to put 5, but to be quite honest, I've got 30 cameras, but I have places for them. And I'm a little cash poor at the moment to be buying a bunch more cameras. So I might look online. I could pick up a few for that area. But you gotta know what's there to hunt it. If there's a pile of deer in the place I was yesterday, but it could be there's 5 of those 8 points that are everywhere, and there's no monster in there. It's very possible. Oh, turkeys, turkeys, turkeys. I'm gonna eat this guy. And I'm gonna make I'm gonna make fletchings for my 750 grain arrows. Everyone thinks I'm nuts. That bow is good to 20 yards. That's it. Maybe 20. I'm gonna build some 340s too that are probably in that 625 range, and we'll see how they do. But it's fun to shoot. It's forgiving, very accurate to 20. But in my saddle, I did shoot it out of my saddle, and it's a 64-inch bow. So that bottom limb, if I have to lean out to shoot down out of my saddle. So, and I got my aiders made for my 1-sticks. I painted them up nice. Like, I might get a good one this year.